Wow, it looks like
I'm
you're on a
not mad about
movie
it.
set. Gosh,
Oh,
listeners,
I
she's
forgot to
got
tell you.
the ocean behind her. It looks like a little tiki hut. It's got some palm trees, and in your coffee is steaming. You are in someplace beautiful and tropical, and wow,
The
I'm
coffee,
jealous.
because it's freaking early. I have to get up early for Miss Princess.
I
The
know. I know.
princess. Yeah,
Well, that's not why. You're tell the listeners because you have to tee off soon. So
I do.
we had to work around your golf schedule today. So
We
I'm
did.
happy to do that. I'm happy to do
The
that.
hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Hollow Bunny Leadership Podcast. I'm Kristen Ziman, and I'm here with my sun-kissed and swing-obsessed and golf-glorious co-host, Sylvia Moir, who is currently in a tropical location perfecting her handicap and living her best life. We are former police chiefs, but the Hollow Bunny isn't just for cops. The show is for anyone curious about life and leadership and the lessons that fill up our Hollow Bunnies, metaphorically, of course. Today, we're stepping into the practices of Ryan Holiday, who urges leaders to cultivate journaling, reading, and the hardest one for me, stillness. So consider this your nudge to pause, reflect, absorb, and to grow. Good morning, Sylvia.
Buenos dias, senora.
Ooh,
It,
a little
isn't this
hint
an
to your
international?
location.
No, it's an international podcast, so we have to
It's
appeal to all of our listeners. Guten Morgen in Germany. Those of you in
Guten Morgen to you.
Guten Morgen, those of you in Germany.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm donning
Coffee.
my Sylvia Moyer mug.
Oh,
You
oh,
see
does
that?
it taste sweet or bitter? Just
It's
wow.
sweet today.
Wow.
It's
And
sweet
what's on the
today.
other
That's our
side?
just little old me. Just little
Oh,
old me.
little old you.
That's all.
See, this is why I drink with my left hand when I'm drinking
Hmm.
from that mug, so I
Yeah.
can look you in the eyes. Look you in the
Yes.
eyes. No, on the mug. Look who's on that mug.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I
Oh,
see.
I
Oh,
go,
okay.
hello,
I see what you
friend.
do. This feels weird to me, like with my own face, in the frame. So I like to, but I do see it. I see how, yes, can look right at you there.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful. This
I
is our
just
merch.
drink you in. I love the merch. So, Kristen, we talk a lot about things that people call us about, emails about, write in about, and we have been talking about vulnerability, a little crunchy
Hmm.
the other day.
Yeah.
Yikes. A little crunchy.
Yeah.
Let's just and have some grace. I had to double down on my grace and kindness. But really part of this daily stoic journey, the stoicism
Hmm.
that you really propped up from the amazing stoics, Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, they left us these incredible pieces of their thinking in terms of, well, Marcus Aurelius meditations, that was never meant to be digested by the masses. That was his own journal for
Yeah.
how he led people in wars and uh, just awful, awful, awful tragedies. And it's been said that he endured more tragedies and difficulty and suffering, somebody his own hand in offense, but let's not get into that, than any others. And what he left us in meditations was the innermost thinking that he had as he led uh, a nation state.
Sure.
So you and I've been talking about Ryan Holiday for a long time, and it's hard. It's hard with the daily grind, the anxieties, the difficulty, the joys, all the things in life. It's hard to live a stoic life, but it's super instructive, right?
Yeah, for sure. Can we talk about how Ryan Holiday has made his career and his livelihood just regurgitating the great thinkers and philosophers of in our history? At, when I read Marcus Aurelius and Meditations, I sometimes have to read it several times to go, okay, what
Oh
is
yeah.
he just saying?
And
So
and wait,
what?
what?
So I'm like, wait, what? It's like reading Shakespeare. It's like, I mean, I want to be that person that reads, the Stoics, like right from their own words, their own hand. But I sometimes I feel really dumb sometimes. And it's the same
Struggling.
thing where I like have to read it. Yeah. 4 times. So I really like love Ryan Holiday's work and how he completely translates it into bite-sized portions in all of his books that I can understand, and then relates it to life and leadership. So I love Ryan Holiday's work, and I just think it's so cool how he's able to do that and to become this
Well,
subject matter expert on the Stoics. How very cool.
I love it. It's cool. He could be called a modern philosopher. And doesn't everybody do that? I mean, if you
Wait,
go
can
back,
he be called a modern philosopher if he's not the one
oh, if he's
philosophizing it? He's just, don't you, and this is not
good,
this
good
is not a
check.
slight. He's just, you know what he does? We've talked about this before. He does what a lot of thought leaders do is they take old thoughts. You had said something to me one day that really blew my mind when you said no thought is actually original. And I don't know if that was a quote that you just pulled out. You can sometimes pull quotes out of your ass and I find that to be such a gift. But you had said something about no thought being original. And like, that's what Simon Sinek does.
Yeah,
And with the infinite game, he took
yeah,
the work of someone else. And that's a really good thing because he made it, so it's manageable. And like, it's like what Adam Grant and what Brene Brown do with research. I don't know how to read research, but this is what Ryan Holiday does. But I don't know that Ryan Holiday actually, um, would be considered a modern day philosopher. I don't know, maybe, but he
yeah.
just kind of takes it and I don't know. Not that that
I
matters,
take
but
that pushback. I take that pushback because I think you're right. A lot of us, I don't know if I heard it, read it, whatever, but for dozens of years I've thought that, right? That there's no actual new thought. There's inventions based on improvements, right? And there are
yeah,
people that have theories and notions and ideas, and they take action in furtherance of. But I don't know. I'm not really sure there's a real original thought. And to this point, one of
yeah,
the things that Ryan Holiday argues is something that you and I experienced with James Clear. And I'm super interested in James Clear. We heard him at Wobie. We've talked about this a lot in Atomic Habits. And he came out, I subscribe to him now. I subscribe to all kinds of
hmm
shit because you told me I have to
I know.
subscribe to everything and read everything. It's all I do now.
Be
Um,
careful; it will take over your life.
it has. And part of that is the Stoic journey. Part of it is your nudging. Part of it is living as a learner and inquiring and trying to think differently. Aren't we all trying to do that? Like, I want to challenge my thinking. I want to know where I'm wrong. But what one of the things that came up for me even very recently is that Ryan Holiday in his daily Stoic newsletter was talking about Zeno, who said well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing. And that led me to think, and the daily grind got me to think about James Clear, got me to think about all the things that we're talking about that really develops leaders and develops us in this incredible one precious life we have to live. And that one thing a day. And the one thing a day is talking about part of what you and I have talked about. You're a mad writer. Like, I don't even know, you write voraciously. I struggle. I'm slow and deliberate, but I'm doing this journal thing. Let's talk about that and what that means for leadership and for life.
Yeah, and I love what you said about small things because this is so interesting to me about how individuals, high performers, avoid the simple disciplines that would actually make them better. And I am one of these people, which my confession is that stillness is harder than CrossFit, than rope climbs, or any tactical challenge that you can give me. But what Ryan Holiday's 3 pillars are: journaling, reading, and stillness and silence. And, to
That's four
delve in,
pillars, but are stiller.
stillness
Wait,
and silence, I put into the same
help
category.
us. Public school math. I thought that was four.
Did that math not
I
math?
Well, not
Yes.
for me, but
Stillness
I'm
and
not
silence. Let's just
a
call it
mathy.
stillness then. Stillness.
Okay.
Okay, then stillness, reading, and journaling. So for me, as you mentioned, writing is cathartic to me. I
Oh,
don't actually know how I feel about something until I write about it. And I have a weekly newsletter that I drop every Monday, and there is a blog post associated with that. And people ask me what how I come up with the topics that I write about. And the answer is I don't have a topic. I just look at the blinking cursor and then my mind starts to go to something that happened. And
what?
then I try to tell a story. Yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to write about until I start writing. And now there's a lot of times where I will just write and nothing will come from it. I'm like, this is shit. And so I scrap it. But then other times I think of a conversation that I had. I think of something that's happened to me, a challenge that I'm going through. So that journaling, it's a tool of an inspection rather than expression. Like I'm what is going on introspectively inside of me, and it forces clarity, honesty, accountability. And so when I write, I slow down my thinking, and when I slow down my thinking, that slows it down enough to see my own bullshit. And so it's just
Uh,
something that I do. And I think that especially the way Ryan Holiday talks about Marcus Aurelius and meditations, is that journaling is the antidote to reactivity. So it prompts leaders. What am I avoiding? What am I resisting? What story am I telling myself that may not be true? So that's how I use it. It's a form of therapy for me, and it helps me understand and make sense of the world.
wow, there is so much I want to dive into about that. One is it's a tool, I think you said, of inspection instead of expression.
Yeah.
Wow, that just completely flipped my perspective about you and your endeavor. And it flipped it because that is a life and leadership lesson. That is, I just, even as one of your front row, like, I did not know that before, that you sit down and that the writing is the process for you. It's introspective, it's inspective instead of expressive. I really saw it as something very different. How
No,
what's
well,
the utility?
the hope is that the expression comes to the reader. So it's certainly expressive, but the hope is that the final product is something that is an expression to readers, so that they can take something from it and apply it to their own lives, and to try to make it aspirational and not so
So
much
wait,
inspirational, but here's some action items that you can take from this thing that I'm grappling with, or this thing that I saw in the world, and I'm trying to take it to you, and that leads to a form of expression.
so I have to apologize if my question made you feel like there wasn't a utility to the expression, because it's profound. The work that you publish is really meaningful. So if I in any way said that, okay, it wasn't my intent at all, and I apologize for that. I
No, I didn't take
am
that at all. No.
struck by I'm really struck by this whole thing that you it's introspective. It comes from somewhere. So there's an origin. Somebody sends you an email, you've had a conversation, somebody calls you and says, "Hey, I need this, I'm grappling with this thing." And then you sit down and you write something meaningful based on your inside, right? And so what
Hmm.
that argues is you're then writing from your place of wisdom. And Seneca did this. Seneca, Seneca wrote voraciously and
Hmm.
supported one of the governor of Pompeii. He wrote to a dear friend of his, a colleague who was the governor of Pompeii, who grappled with the same things everybody grappled with. Here he was, this amazing guy, and he grappled with anxiety and tension and suffering and raising funds to support the infrastructure and all the things that he was grappling with. And his name was Lucilius, and
Hmm.
Seneca wrote to him voraciously, and he told him each day, acquire something that will fortify you against the difficulty in essence. And so you go into this kind of vessel that you have of experience, readings, learnings, education, and training, which are different. And then you sit down, and whatever strikes you, you start writing. And then you
Mhm.
provide that to a broad audience.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
so that could also be this kind of this outlet, this thing that you use to grapple with other difficulty, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's an ultimate tool of self reflection. And it was Socrates that said the unexamined life is not worth living. And that's how I examine my life. Now, there are, people have different methods of doing so, talking it out. I I need to actually write it out before I talk about it. And so that helps me process things. And then again, as I write, I note that there is a lesson here for everyone. Well, at least that's my hope. That's again the aspiration. That's the expression part of it. Listen, there are going to be things that I write about that don't resonate with people because maybe they're not grappling with that, or it's something
Sure.
that they simply can't identify with. So I can't hit them all. But that is what I'm thinking about. I first start with that introspection, but then I think about how I turn that outward, because it's a service to readers. I mean, I think of it as the greatest gift that people can give me is to say, I want your words. That is, I mean, as I build my subscriber list and people say, I want to sign up for this, I mean, the gratitude that I feel is overwhelming. So the gift that I try, or the service that I try to provide, is now, what can I provide you that you can take something from this, by examining a life lesson or some
Hmm.
complexity that I'm grappling with, and in trying to make it that it's our human condition that we're all experiencing these kinds of things. It's not just
Yeah.
me. I'm not alone. And so that unexamined life not worth living from Socrates is kind of where I base that on. Is I want to examine things, and then I want to make it so it's relevant to you, and what takeaways, action items can I provide you for your own life. So that's my methodology.
Yeah, you certainly do that. And there's a great saying about when we feel the problem is out there, it's out in someone else, then we
Yeah.
don't do that self-examination. So to start journaling, to start writing, is then to examine your life. And there are a lot of people that don't do that, so that's
Yeah.
commendable. And there's an interesting thing about journaling with Ryan Holiday. He talks about how we actually need to do this, right? And he said, just start one line a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
It'll fortify you, one line a day. Sino said that. Uh, James Clear says that. The great thinkers and doers in the world have said, just do one thing each day. And we're going to pull on that thread a little bit later once we get past kind of how journaling works. Just get a book, get a
Hmm.
little book, get I use a pencil. I'm a pencil kind of gal, and
Hmm.
I start just writing. And I think you had talked about before how people remember more when they actually physically write.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true.
I think you had talked about that before, that there's that kinesthetic actual writing you recall more. But okay, so how to journal. Ryan Holiday says first thing, just start.
Just start. Yeah,
Yeah.
just start.
Uh,
That's what I do. So that's my method, the blinking cursor. And I actually I type fast and my brain works fast. So it's actually easier for me to type it out, but if it's easier for you to write,
um,
but go ahead.
I got an F in typing in eighth grade.
Ooh, did you? Oh my gosh, was
Uh,
that your only F?
uh, Probably not. Yeah, I got an F in typing. I can't do
Oh,
it.
wow.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so listeners, choose a pen, choose a pencil, whatever you need. Choose an iPad, a Remarkable, uh, a computer. Kristen types fast, likes the blinking cursor. I use paper and a pencil. You
Yeah.
just use whatever you use. So just
Yeah.
start.
Just start. And my method, as I said, is whatever bubbles up. And we're going to get to stillness, but this is interesting because when I sit in front of, the cursor, whatever bubbles up is what I start writing about. A lot of people will be intimidated by that. And so there are prompts that you can use. So if this is something that you're just starting, maybe just ask yourself a few prompts that can get the writing, get the kind of
Like what?
the juice flowing. What am I avoiding? What truth am I resisting? What story am I telling myself that may not be
Mm.
true? Any of those can just can get the creative juices flowing. And there is something in your life that for every single one of us that we are avoiding, that we're resisting. And then just start there. And that will most likely evolve into something.
Yeah, and there's this great thing that's argued for, which is inversion. Inversion thinking is counterintuitive. It's basically, it's not obvious to sit and consider the opposite of what you want. That might be really good for somebody. It's like the key thinkers visualize negative outcomes. The key
Yeah.
thinkers say, okay, what is the worst thing that could happen in this thing that's troubling me? What are the mistakes that were made before, and how can I prevent those? That might be inversion thinking, may just be a really cool prompt for people. You and I both
Yeah.
love Marie Kondo. Marie
Yeah.
Kondo, who talked about how decluttering changes your life. Marie Kondo is an inversion thinker because Marie Kondo she says we need to choose what we want to keep instead of what we want to discard. And,
Mm.
and you and I both say, you grab it and you say, does this spark joy? If
Does
it
this
sparks
spark joy?
joy, keep it.
That's right.
Inversion is really saying, I want to choose what I want to keep. So that may help some people, as you and I are real dissectors of self and want to know self and where we have made mistakes, and really dive into that. As a start for some people in their journaling practice, it may be what do I want to keep about myself, and what sparks joy. And that may be a really cool, interesting inversion prompt for folks.
I love that because it also speaks to your positive experience. It's been shown through positive psychology that when you actually journal about something in your life, a joyful experience, a positive experience, that you relive that experience as you write it. And so all of the neural pathways in your brain fire and the happy chemicals are released as you relive that. So this doesn't always
Mhm.
have to be doom and gloom. You don't have to write about things that you're grappling with. You can write about an experience that you had that was beautiful or that was joyful. And so that point is very important too. And that's
Yeah.
what you just said. And what's so interesting? I was just listening to a podcast yesterday. It was the Amy Poehler Good Hang podcast. And a question was asked of Julia Louis Dreyfus. And the question was, what wonderful things did you get from your parents, your mother? And you know how we always talk about, kind of the negative is like, oh, how did your parents screw you up? But instead it was, what beautiful things did you get from your parents? And so that's just another way of looking at things because
Oh,
we tend to focus so much on the negative. So I like what you just said there. It doesn't have to be a doom and gloom kind of journaling process, but what happened to me that was wonderful? What great things did have people given me in my life? So that's just a great prompt to use as well.
right. And that's what I'm going to start with tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Right,
I love
because
that.
I've been really churning on these changes in life, and a lot of us have these. Life is changing. People come in, people go, and people disappoint you, and people also give you incredible joy. So tomorrow morning, my commitment is, and Ryan Holiday says this is number two, pick a time. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened to me, Kristen. I'm becoming a morning person. It's really, I don't even recognize myself. I don't know what to do about it. But the past like year, I'm a morning person. He says, pick a time to
Yeah.
prepare for or in reflection of your day. And and if it's prepare for, what might bring you to be fully present and get out of that warm bed and do the thing that you've
Yes.
committed to doing, that one thing. And then if it's in reflection of the day, how did I follow through today? How was
Yeah.
I asked myself, how was I dependable? How did I contribute? So pick a time. Yours is morning, right?
Morning, absolutely. I mean, this is
Me too.
we're here early, we're up and at it, but I've already cold plunged. I've already got that sunshine in my eyeballs, and yes, and already started writing because that's my process is just do those things and then go right to the computer and just start creating. And I like to before I consume. And what I mean by that is I like to create before I consume. That is, I like to just sit
Ah,
and write, and I don't consume any social media. I don't scroll. I check my sleep score, and I check to see if my children have reached out to me. That is the only two things that I touch my phone for. And then I start to create before I consume because I don't want to, take
cool.
in the world just yet. But that consumption leads to Ryan Holiday's next pillar, which is reading. And that is another way that I journal as well. That when I read things, I will take something from a book and I will just take one idea, and we bounce this off of each other all of the time. What thing did you read? Now Ryan Holiday
Yep.
spends 3 to 4 hours a day reading, but he treats reading as training. You don't have to do that, but listen, this is what we know for sure. Leaders who do not read are leaders who stop evolving, and it
Word.
expands.
Say it again.
It Readers who do not read are leaders who stop evolving. And we know, listen, bunnies, the way that reading literally adds substance to your life, and so it's a form of borrowed wisdom, is what we've said before. This is other people's wisdom, but
Yep.
it's borrowed wisdom that we get to compress into our own lives, and so we cannot feasibly expand and evolve our intellect, our learning without reading. And
Word.
I reading, it doesn't matter whether you listen. I don't care if it's an audible book, but what book has changed your mind recently? What are you actively studying now? That is all in form of reading and ingesting that knowledge into yourself. So that is also how I spark ideas for journaling. Is it's perhaps something that I've read that I want to think more about, delve deeper into. So reading is one of the pillars that you have to introduce into your life. It's simple, but it's not easy.
Right. I couldn't agree more. And Ryan Holiday has a bookstore called The Painted Porch, and he has his top, I think, 10 books. I ordered the first five, and I'm
Uh,
diving into them. They are incredible. And well, they're not all incredible because I haven't actually read them yet, but the process of reading, you and I encourage each other to do this because we do believe in borrowed wisdom. It sparks a thought. It gives us kind of a pathway. There's this other piece. You take one piece, I take a piece, and I've talked
yeah,
about the commonplace book that I have. I have a commonplace book, and this commonplace book is this little nugget, this little morsel, this little thing I'm going to chew on, and it's something that takes me down a path. That commonplace book is, I've had mine since 2019. It got me through a lot of stuff, churning on the things of the day, thinking about the things of the past to inform the present and the future as strategy and tactics are played out in the leadership and organizational space, as we churn it with as leaders on the difficult things interacting with people and process systems, etc. A commonplace book is really something. And in this, and then you kind of take that. Do you journal on that stuff, or is that just one of the pillars? So there's journaling, there's reading. Totally believe in both. And I'm reading a really, really good murder mystery right now. Harlan
yeah,
Coben. He's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't read
Okay. So
much
you don't
fiction.
want, yeah, I have to have one going. I'm reading
Yeah, okay.
Secret of
That's
Secrets by Dan Brown. Listening to it, actually. It's 24 hours for the love of Pete. That's a lot of
Oh
treadmill.
wow.
Ugh.
Wow. Yeah, but well, that's it doesn't matter what kind of reading, whatever sparks any kind of idea.
Okay.
So my process with reading is kind of interesting because I have this problem with I can read a book, and what will happen is I'm a really fast reader, and
Mm.
I won't stop to ingest things as they need to be ingested. I'll
No,
glaze
no,
over it. No,
no.
so I have a method. So here's what I do is first of all, I read on a Kindle, or actually on my iPad with the Kindle app. And I will read a paragraph. And what I try to do is go, okay, what was that paragraph trying to tell me? And so then what I do is I highlight a thought from the book that strikes me, something that makes me think, something that challenges me, whatever. If it jumps off the page, I'm highlighting it. And then I have this app called Readwise, and the Readwise app takes all of my highlights from the book that I have read and regurgitates them for me in a daily email. I get the quotes that I've highlighted. So that forces me to go back and revisit that thought
Awesome.
that I was either grappling with. That's my method,
Awesome.
because if I just read a book from front to back, I will put the book down and go, God, that was so good. And then I will forget the things that I needed to remember. So I have to be very conscious about how I read and highlight and note. And if I'm reading a physical book, I have to earmark it. I have to highlight the shit out of it. I have to put a post-it note on it. Otherwise it will go away.
Yeah, and that's your method. And
Mm.
so then I love that. Okay, wait. You don't read any fiction?
So I do every once in a while, but to me that's like it's mind candy for me. If I'm in a book club right
Yeah.
now, yeah, I'm in a
Yeah.
banned book club, and we're reading only banned books, and so I'm forcing myself to revisit, some books that have been, from my past. And honestly, I love the conversation that I have with these ladies in the banned book club, but and this is a flaw in me. I'm more of the mindset that I want to read nonfiction because I need to learn. I need to ingest.
Oh,
And
for fuck's sake.
yeah, it's not, yeah, it doesn't serve me well all the time, because there
Really?
is a time and a place for mind candy where you just read and you get enveloped by the story. I just finished The Kite Runner again. This is the second time I've read the book, and I had forgotten how much I loved that beautiful story and
Mm.
the heartbreaking story. So I need to do it more, but instead I have it's this disciplined mode in me where it's like, don't read things unless you're going to get something from it. And that's why I've abandoned fiction for a while. It's not a healthy thing.
Well, eh, I don't know, healthy or unhealthy. And some people would say you have to read one at a time. I t- I have no, I don't even have a similar approach. I'm reading two books right now. Well, I'm listening to Dan Brown's Secret of Secrets, which is awesome, and I listen to that when I'm walking or working out. And then I'm reading this Harlan Coben, which I'm so into it. Read it before I go to bed. I read it when I get up, like after my
Hmm.
journaling and my meditation. But
Yeah.
I just can't. I'm in that part where I don't want to go golfing today because I need to finish this book. Oh my God, what's going to happen? So
Just
it
take it
is
with you on
mind
the golf
candy.
cart. Just between holes, just
I'm in
read.
a golf cart by myself today. So, maybe. Okay. So,
So here's the point. There's no wrong way to do the reading thing. Whether you read fiction, whether you read nonfiction, it's going to help. Well, number one, the obvious, it helps just the way that you communicate. When you read excellent prose, you communicate better, and you're going to get new ideas from fiction or nonfiction. The point is that you do it. You just
exactly.
read. Just do
Exactly.
it
So,
any
that's
way
one
you
of the
want.
pillars. Yeah,
Yes.
that exactly. I couldn't agree more. So, how about we do this? How about if we go through what Ryan Holiday said about journaling so everybody gets these points, and then we can talk about that third pillar, right? He said you got to start. You got to pick a time to do it. Early morning is our jam. Do it late at night, whatever. It helps you process emotions. He said, Anne Frank said, paper is more patient than people. Anne Frank said, paper is more patient than people. When she was writing and going through her tragedy, she offered that to the world. Incredible. So that's number three. Number four is ask tough questions. Why am I here? What do I want to accomplish? This is what Kristen was talking about. Number five is question. Ask yourself a question. Number six, do it for yourself. It's for you. It's for your self improvement. Number seven is repeat important things. You heard Kristen talk about when she reads something, she highlights
Oh
it, she
yeah.
puts it in her fancy schmancy, and it
Mm-hmm.
sends her an email and she repeats it. Reminders every day to return to philosophy. I mean, repeat it. The daily
Mm-hmm.
practice and
Mm-hmm.
habituating is really important. Number eight is make it Make a commonplace book, like we talked about, where you collect thoughts, ideas. If you do it electronically, cool. Have that space where you collect these things. And I've gone back recently and just was like, what? We went through all of that. It was
Mm-hmm.
really affirming. Number 9 is keep at it. Have your notebooks, have your moleskins, have your computer, whatever. And number 10 is keep the rhythm. The journal, I have this because I can just pick it up and carry it with me.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the rhythm and come back to it. So Ryan Holiday offers those 10 things about journaling. Kristen and I both offered things where examples or descriptions of how it helps us process things and work through the difficulty and reflect on how we've shown up or serve as our intention for the day. It's a really good practice.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't overthink it. Sometimes people get a little overwhelmed with journaling and what do I write? There's also this method called homework for life, and it's simple. At the end of every day, you just write down something that you learned or a highlight from the day. One sentence, that's it. And a
Yep.
lot of times that could prompt you into writing more, but I've been doing this homework for life and one sentence every day, just and it's interesting to go back and look to see what that highlight was or what was top of mind on that day. So don't overthink it. It's just it can be as simple or as complex as you need it to be. And then finally, the third pillar. So we have to talk about this, and I hate talking about it because stillness is my combat zone. But I try so hard and I've been trying to now incorporate it into when I'm in the cold plunge and I just sit there quietly for 3 minutes. I stare at the sunshine and that has become my stillness and kind of meditation. But it's about all I can muster. 3 minutes. When I try to sit for more than that period of time, I get so restless and my mind goes to what I should be doing because I'm so very action oriented that when I'm sitting in stillness, I feel like I'm not serving myself as well. And I know that that is wrong. That's the whole antithesis of stillness, is that actually thoughts will bubble up. It actually will help me. It will help me grappling with the problem that I have. It will help me as I write. And I know that conceptually and pragmatically, and yet I find this to be the most difficult thing.
It's simple but not easy, right? And you and I have
Yeah.
talked about this. This is really freaking hard for you. It's really freaking hard for me. I go straight to action. I clean, I organize, I Marie
Yeah.
Kondo the hell out of my space. I go to doing. I have to move. And however, what I recognize is this bubbling up and understanding of the strength of stillness is that I can notice and a thought, an anxiety, something troubling me, I have to have an intention around it. And
Hmm.
my practice is to just sit and say thank you and watch it float away and dissipate like a passing cloud,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I will say there are very few people that have mastered it. It is called a practice because it's just that. It is a practice. Most of us don't master it. But you have started with a small incremental step. There's a great African proverb that says, never test the water with both feet. So you got into your cold
Yeah.
plunge for a few seconds, then 30 seconds, then a minute, and you're at a full 33 minutes. And so
Hmm.
I would say cut yourself some slack.
Yeah.
Um, Take the small wins of the stillness and then maybe notice what's happening in those times. Not like I'm the great teacher, for fuck's sake, but I did. Spirit Rock is the great meditation space that's in Marin County. It's just
Yeah.
a couple miles from my house. And some point we could talk about the metta, the loving kindness retreat I went to. And I'm
Hmm.
going to throw one at you. We're going to have to explore. I was invited to go to a 4-day silent retreat.
I would die. Oh my
I'm,
God. All I
I
do
haven't,
is talk.
yeah, I haven't registered yet because I'm not sure I could do it, but
I think I
we'll
might
explore
die.
that in a future pod.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Um,
Like I'm one of
yeah.
those people
So
that bubbles over with all of the stuff that I want to say. The thing that I have to work on the most
you
is,
do this.
when yes, when people are talking, I'm just like, oh God, I relate to that story so much. And I just can't wait for my turn to talk. And so I mean, obviously this is what I probably need the most, is just to shut my fucking mouth. But no, it's just like, that gives me anxiety. It's just like the same anxiety I have, this is where I confuse, like, for stillness, like, the difference between being busy and being purposeful. Like, in my mind, like, busy is good, but busy is
Mm,
not good. It's purposeful that's good. So
okay.
I just need to slow down, because stillness is where decisions are made. It's where resilience is built. It's where leadership clarity is born. Life
Yes.
clarity is born. And so I know that to be true. And I know if I just shut my mouth and be silent, that answers will bubble to the surface and clarity will bubble to the surface. But it's just the thing that I grapple with every single year.
We're going to work on this. This is going to be 2026,
Yeah.
right? This is going to be
Yeah.
2026. We're going to notice it and we're going to work through it, because that
We are.
impulse reactivity is beneath us as leaders. You do this in your workplace with just, you're impeccable with it.
Yeah.
So now maybe this is the time where it happens in the personal space. Yeah, there's a lot here, right?
There
There's a
is.
lot.
Yeah.
We talked about the pillars: journaling, reading, stillness. You're killing it on two of those.
2 out of 3
You're
ain't bad, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but we've talked. God, we talk about this all the time. We're women of action. We get shit done.
Yeah.
However, over getting things done makes us seem reactive. Over kind of that overaction kills the presence, can kill the addressing all the things that are laid at our feet, and
Yeah.
kill interactions with people and the space in which they can be the thinkers, they can be the actors. And it may seem a little bit disrespectful. I found spaces where, God, I was totally well intentioned by taking action to do this thing, and it's made people feel disrespected. And I have some work to do in that space. So we're going to pull that apart in a future podcast. If
Okay. Yeah. I'd love
listeners are
that.
kind of grappling with that very same thing, let's really break that apart.
Because there's a resistance there. I mean, I have to acknowledge the
Yeah.
resistance to quiet. It's discomfort. It is uncomfortable for me. It's that fear of hearing my own thoughts, and also that addiction to momentum. So
Mm.
I think that we have to really delve into this again at some point, just because I know a lot of people like me grapple with it. But I know that disruption requires reflection, and you can't disrupt anything in your life if you never stop long enough to see the patterns that you're living through. So that's a challenge
And
for our listeners. Listen, I'm 2 out of 3. So if you are 0 for 3, pick one of the 3 habits and just simply commit to 10 minutes a day for 7 days. That's it. And just take notice of what shifts inside
yep.
you if you pick one of these things, one of these 3 pillars to do.
For sure. And in a future episode, we're going to break apart stillness. And Ted wants to know, is stillness the same as quiet? We're going to break that apart. So if this is intriguing to you, start journaling just a little bit. Just start reading just a little bit, and maybe just sit for just a brief period of time with just noticing that you're sitting. That's it.
Yeah, and yeah, this is great. We really do have to delve into it, and you would have to really lead the discussion. You, as a person that literally has a space inside your home for meditation, like a little Zen corner, with a Buddha and all of the things
That's
and it's a space. We talked about that in
okay.
the last podcast. Creating a
Yes.
space,
Yeah,
like that's James Clear habits,
for
where you have to
sure.
create a space that leads you to do the thing that you want to do. So that's imperative as well. And I need to do that. But what Ted was
I'm
asking is,
fidgety.
can you? Yeah. So I love that. But Ted was, don't confuse stillness with vegging out in front of the TV or vegging out and scrolling on TikTok. Those are not the same. Your mind is
Nope.
occupied with garbage, and I say that as a consumer of it. I love watching TikTok and Reels on Instagram. I get a lot from them. I laugh and I learn, but that is not the same as just as stillness. So don't confuse the two. That doesn't count.
That is a
Pardon me.
trap. All
Yeah.
right. So everyone's going to be looking at this thinking, oh, wow, I can't wait to talk about stillness. And we will let Kristen talk during that stillness podcast.
Oh
We're going
my
to break
God,
that
thank
apart.
you.
I'm not an expert, I'm a practitioner. So we will
Yeah.
dive into this.
Yes, love that. All right, so that's it, listeners. Bunnies, just pick one thing, either journal, read, stillness, and just remember this more space that you create inside yourself, the more capacity you have to lead others, whether that is in your organization or in your family and in your relationships. So thank you guys for showing up today. Ted Madden produces this podcast, and the song you're about to hear was written and performed exclusively for us by my handsome and talented son, Jake Ziman, and his friends, Fabian and Zoe. If you like our podcast, please subscribe. Please like it, review it, tell everyone you know about it. You can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And if you don't like it, move
Oh,
along. There's nothing more to see here. So remember to keep filling your bunnies and keep adding substance to others, everyone. Bye, everyone.
goodbye.
When you look inside, what do you find? Are you content to fall behind? When you lose your way and you've lost your why? Have courage and get ready to fight the hollow bunny. When the way ahead is covered in smoke and you're tired and you're scared and you're losing hope, you'll open your heart and your eyes to see a challenge and a question. Why not me? To fight the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow bunny. When the challenge ahead scares you to death, you tame the imposter inside instead. To change the world, you've got to start small. It takes a leader to say, I don't know it all. And I know I'm gonna fall, but I'll pick it up and come back stronger. Failing forward and moving onward, doing the hard thing and the right thing, forever fighting the hollow bunny. And we all feel hollow sometimes, but the monsters are only in your mind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're brave and kind, you'll be alright. If you fight the hollow bunny. If you're tough on the outside but empty within, something's gonna crack, you've gotta start again. You're tough on the outside but empty within, something's gonna crack, you've gotta start again. The monsters